Hello and welcome to Little Learners. Today I'm going to give 10 top tips for NQTs starting teaching in September. Before we get started, don't forget to hit that subscribe button to join the Little Learners family, and remember to hit the bell so that you never miss a video. Number 1, appreciate your TA. If you are in an earlier year group such as reception, maybe year 1 and year 2, you may be lucky enough to have more frequent time with your TA. Some schools have teaching assistants that move across classrooms throughout the week, so it just depends on what your school is like. These TAs are often a lot more experienced than you are, and it can be a bit of an interesting dynamic when you go into your classroom, and more often than not, NQTs end up being younger than their TAs, and it can be difficult to kind of forge that relationship because it can feel a bit awkward. But honestly, my biggest thing with this is that you must appreciate them, ask them questions, and really listen to them, because they will have so much knowledge about the year ahead, because often they have already done it more than once sometimes. So their knowledge is really valuable, so appreciate your TAs. Also treat them nicely. You know, that goes along with appreciating your TAs. Appreciate their knowledge, but also appreciate them as a person, because they are going to be doing a lot of work for you. And if you are in earlier year groups, they're probably going to do work for you that you wouldn't want to do anyway, like changing nappies. Number 2, be nice to the caretaker and cleaners. Having grown up with a mum who works in a school, I got to know a lot of the staff in the school she was working at throughout my childhood, and often I would get to know a lot of the caretakers because she'd be there after school or during the holidays when they were working. And I saw how much work the caretakers did, and so when I started teaching myself, I knew it was really important to make sure that I made friends with the caretaker, or at least just spoke to them, because I did notice that some teachers didn't do that. And actually it was quite sad, because at one of my PGC placement schools, I was talking to the caretaker. I'd see him every day, so I'd kind of chat with him, got to know him a little bit, and he said to me at the end of my time on my placement, you know, it was really lovely that you came to speak to me every day. None of the teachers at this school ever talked to me. And I just thought how awful that there was kind of like this weird segregation between teaching staff and non-teaching staff. It boggles my mind, because the minute something goes wrong with your classroom, you are going to need that caretaker. You really need to appreciate your caretakers and also your cleaners. My goodness, my classroom at the end of the day, especially in reception, I really had to apologise to my cleaner a lot, because I am a big fan of glitter, and as much as I tried to tidy it up by the end of the day, it would be all over the floor. And the cleaner who used to come into my classroom, we used to have a bit of a joke about it. I've seen teachers sitting at their desk working on their computer, the cleaner comes in to clean, and they don't utter a word to them. I really don't understand this kind of concept. So please, please, please make sure you are including all staff when you're thinking about being friendly to people. Number 3, before you start kind of over the summer, do a little bit of research, make sure you've got some sound knowledge of the curriculum or the framework depending on which year group you're going into. You don't need to know it off by heart at all, but it can help you to feel a little bit more confident when you do go in, when you kind of have some key phrases in your head and you know that you've been looking at what is to come and what you're going to be expecting of children throughout the year. It also helps when you get to school and other teachers start referencing it and you can actually understand what they're talking about. Number 4, use photos to learn children's names before school starts. So I think this is probably easier in reception, because we take a photo of every child for their pegs to put their coats on, and I don't know, some other year groups may take photos of the children on their visit day as well. I would get a photo of every child. They would have a name tag on that day, on kind of the meet the teacher day, and then I would print a set off for myself and just keep going over it and kind of test myself as if they were flashcards. It just meant that when the children did start at school, it made them feel a bit more comfortable, because I already knew their names. And obviously you do kind of forget one or two, but after a couple of days it's in your head anyway. I just think it's really nice to be able to start off school with you knowing the majority of the children's names, because they will know your name. They only have one name to remember, so it's a little bit easier for them, but I do think it's a nice way to start the year. Number 5, choose a day on which you will leave by 4 p.m. every week. So for many teachers, this will be a Friday. They'll make sure that they are out the door by 4 p.m. on a Friday. Some teachers like to do this on a Wednesday. I, during my NQT year, did this on a Wednesday because I would have NQT time on a Wednesday afternoon, which meant that I could do anything that I needed to catch up on, and then by the end of the day, I could just go home. I think it's really important to choose a day when you are going to go home by 4. I like to call it out the door by 4, because all of the other days you will be spending a lot of time at school. If you are in reception particularly, you'll be setting up things for the next day. You will be across all year groups doing lots of marking, assessment, preparing lessons, planning lessons, and particularly if you live nearby, you'll probably do all of this at school and then get home later. If you live further away, you're more likely to take this work home with you, but that is still time that you are working. So you need a day when you are just going to go home and relax and just have some time for yourself. Number 6, don't be afraid to ask for help. This one is so important. I think that a lot of the time when NQTs come into school, you feel like you've had the training and so you should just be able to do everything now. That is not the case. First of all, you'll be going into a school and you don't know how they run things. Lots of different schools do a lot of different things differently. They have slightly different expectations, and if there is some planning for the week that you're unsure about, go and ask one of your fellow teachers. They are there to support you. You should have an NQT mentor in your school who is also there to support you, so make sure you're utilising them. During my NQT year, I found that everyone was really helpful. That included non-teaching staff, teaching assistants as well. So just make sure you do ask questions. And I think I started going into my colleague's classroom every morning and say, I'm really sorry, but I've got a question. And she kept saying to me, stop saying sorry. This is your first year of teaching. Of course you're going to have questions. So please don't worry about asking questions and make sure you ask them when you need some help. Number 7, be firm, but also be kind and fair. Don't forget to smile. Some people, when they start teaching, follow the policy of not smiling in the first half term. There's like this kind of movement around not smiling too much when you first start teaching, especially at the beginning of the year. So every year you're teaching, not smiling too much, which is bizarre to me. That's supposed to make it seem like you are very strict and firm, but you can do that while also being very kind, showing kindness to children. You want them to feel safe and secure in your company, in your classroom, and so smiling at them is really important. Being kind to them so that you can model the kind of behaviour that you want to get back from them. Please make sure you smile. Don't listen to this whole don't smile in the first half term thing. It is so ridiculous. It's really important to create a really happy, caring and supportive, calm environment in your classroom. Number 8, if you have the opportunity to go into school before the school term starts to kind of organise and decorate your classroom, definitely do that, because it's really lovely to sort of get the lay of the land, see what the last teacher has left behind, if they have left anything behind. I know when I started, the teacher before me was wonderful. She left so much for me to kind of look at. She left some of her previous planning so I could get an idea of what was going on. She also had a massive cupboard full of resources, games, toys that the children could use. That also was slightly overwhelming because I wasn't 100% sure what I would actually need for the year. So don't feel like when you go into your classroom to organise it, you need to throw things away. If you're unsure about something, just keep it in a cupboard. When you get to the next school year, then you can start going through things. You'll understand more about what you actually need throughout the year, and you can start getting rid of things then. But for now, just go in, get an idea of where everything is, move things around if you'd like to move them around, decorate it so you make it your place. You know, this has been someone else's classroom for a while, and you want to go in and make sure that you feel really comfortable there and you kind of put your stamp on it. So just make sure that you take up that opportunity to go into your classroom before term starts if you are able to. Number 9, make sure you get a planner or a calendar so that you can put all of the important school dates on it and also all of your NQT dates on it. So if you're going to have an observation, if you have to have a form in at a certain time in the year, just make sure you've got all of that written down. If you have a planner that no one else needs to see, so if you haven't got a calendar up on your classroom wall, you can also put your personal dates in there as well. So that's really useful because if you're looking through and you think, okay, I'm having an observation this week, and also we're having parents' evening this week, then you're probably not going to want to organise a dinner with your friends on the Monday evening. Similarly, if you have a week where there are no extra things that you need to do that week, so you've just got your teaching and everything else that comes with teaching, but no kind of after school events or anything like that, that can help you decide when you do want to plan more social events for yourself. So just can help you to get a better work-life balance so that you don't feel completely burnt out, you don't feel like you're missing out on your own social life. Feeling more organised just helps you feel like you've got a hold on your NQT year a bit more. Number 10, I would highly recommend preparing your classroom the night before so that mornings are calm and you don't have a lot to do. Especially in reception, this is very important because you need to set up a lot of provision for the day ahead, and trying to get all of that done in the morning when you come in. If you've been stuck in traffic, that means you've got less time. If you come in and someone says, oh, you know, actually I need to meet with you about something to do with a child before school starts, then you've got less time. Lots of different things can happen in the morning, and I think it's really helpful to kind of get all of that preparation done the night before so that you can come in and just have a calm start to your day. I'm actually going to give you a bonus tip here, so I guess this is tip 11. My bonus tip is hand sanitizer. Lots and lots of hand sanitizer. So that's the end of my tips for NQTs. If you'd like more tips in the future, let me know in the comments below. I'm happy to make more videos like this. Don't forget to hit that like button if you found this video helpful. You may have noticed on social media that we have our very first producer on the channel. You'll see her name at the end of this video. If you're interested in supporting the Little Learners channel, then click the link in the description box below for Patreon. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.